If you achieve and succeed every day, you build a success mindset, and now you can do anything.
Welcome everyone to the Driving Vision podcast brought to you by the Zeigler Auto Group. And here with me, Auto Group Director of Talent Development, Mike Van Ryn. Welcome, Mike.
Hey, thanks, Sam.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast, like it if you do, and leave a comment. Last week, we aired our interview with Chris Nikic and his dad, Nick Nikic. You heard parts of their story, Chris becoming the first ever Ironman with Down syndrome. Join us this week to hear Chris and his dad deliver that full message to Team Zeigler in the Zeigler locker room as part of the Zeigler Speaker Series. We go now to the Zeigler locker room as Mike Van Ryn introduces Chris and his dad.
Good afternoon, Team Zeigler. Good afternoon. We are super pumped to be here today. I'll tell you what, today is a long time coming, and I've been very, very excited for our next guest speaker. He's like no one else that we've ever had before. Let me tell you, first off, I want to welcome his dad, Nick. Nick, thanks for coming in. Super excited to hear from you and learn from everything that you guys have experienced and done. Congrats on your success.
Somebody's got to book the flights.
Somebody's all there.
Let me tell you a little about Chris. You probably had a chance to watch a few of his videos. In a minute, we're going to watch a recap of things that he's done in his life story. But Chris set the world record as the first person with Down syndrome to complete 140.6 mile Ironman triathlon. Amazing. He's a two-time ESPY award winner. It's a pretty big deal. One of them was a Jimmy V Award for Perseverance. How cool is that? He's in the Florida Sports Hall of Fame. He's an American triathlete, an author, published 2 books, and a motivational speaker. Help me give a big round of applause for Chris Nikic. Chris has got a pretty cool video he wants to share with you.
Yep.
So we're going to check this video out right now.
3.
Let's check that out first, and then Dad's going to come up, right?
3, 2, 1, clear.
It's 2020.
Just slowing down.
And Chris Nikic is training for one of the most grueling endurance races in the world.
Keep this pace up, right like this.
An Ironman triathlon. A 2.4 mile swim, a 112 mile bike ride, and a full 26.2 mile marathon.
This is your day. It's going to be a personal best today, okay?
Oh, personal best, huh?
Personal best today.
All right, here we go. It's game time. Let's go.
What if Chris could do something that's never been done? What an impact that would have on his life and others like him around the world. What if we just do an Ironman? He says, okay, what's that? I said, well, it's just a little longer than a sprint. And he said, okay, let's do it, Dad.
One more time. Down, up.
The idea is met with doubters and skeptics. When Chris's coach, Dan Grebe, seeks some help from a fellow coach to create a training plan for Chris, he refuses to help.
Coach says, no, I'm not designing a plan. I said, why not? He said, he can't handle the ocean swim. It's too dangerous. And then he's going to fail. And then I said, do me a favor. Let me just answer this question for me. I said, if Chris was a 20-year-old without Down syndrome, you would design a plan for him. He says, I would. I said, okay. I need you to give my kid the same chance you would give anybody else.
All the way. Keep coming. All the way.
I'm so proud of you, baby. That was the best ever. How you feel, baby?
I need you.
You need me? Okay. When you have a child with Down syndrome, you don't fit in. They don't get invited to parties. They don't get invited to anything. Everything you do is a challenge. It's a fight. Other fathers don't get to experience that. You have to battle everything in order to just get them to be included. That's his whole year plan. Every day he stands up there and writes down what he achieved for the day.
The goal is Ironman in November 7. We have to get 1% better every day.
The 1% better concept is a way to track progress a little bit at a time, not to overwhelm anybody, not to make it too big a deal.
He's not making huge gains, but he's building small levels of foundation that over time become so strong that they overwhelm, and that when he completes this Ironman, he can complete anything. His dreams become possible.
For every competitor, an Ironman begins the same way. An early rise, and a final chance to reflect on the challenge ahead.
You are Ironman ready. Nobody gets in the way of Chris Nikic's dreams. The time limit is 17 hours, and we had one goal, which is to finish on time.
Chris works his way through the rough surf off Florida's Gulf Coast, getting out of the water on pace to break the 17-hour mark.
All right, Chris, looking good, buddy.
But on the bike comes trouble.
Sorry, bothering your feet.
Take your shoe off.
First, he steps on a hill of fire ants during a nutrition stop.
What's the matter?
Then, he loses control of his bike and crashes on a downhill stretch.
I'm thinking, oh my God, this cannot be the end of this race. This is not how this story ends.
Chris gets back on his bike, but with more than 30 minutes of delays. He's now behind the pace to finish within the 17-hour deadline.
Now it's just a run, Joe.
As he enters the 26.2-mile run.
This is going to be the best run of your life. You sure? Yeah. At the end of this run are your dreams. He was keeping a pretty good pace up until about mile 10. At mile 10, he had slowed down to almost a crawl.
Chris, got it, man. Let's get the
As darkness falls, Chris is struggling. His race partners call in his dad, Nick.
Come on, let's keep walking. How's my boy? I know it hurts, but you're not.
At first, I wanted to stop. Instead, I kept pushing through. I knew that my dream was coming.
The pain doesn't go away,
It's blisters.
Okay, that's okay. Those are fake pain.
It's real.
but with every step, he knows he's getting that much closer to the finish line.
You're going home, Chris. You're going to be an Ironman.
As we finished, I said, Chris, this is your moment. Go have it.
Chris Nikic,
And we heard those famous words.
you are an Ironman.
When I saw him coming towards the finish line, I started first thinking about other parents and their little kids with Down syndrome can now look at Chris and say, our child can accomplish something.
So many moms contact me saying that he's been such an inspiration, that their kids, look at Chris as a role model.
You could call it the power of perseverance. How realizing your own dream can show the entire world what's possible.
As a parent of a child with Down syndrome, Chris finishing that race, it just gave me so much hope. He's someone that Rocco can look up to. Rocco knows when someone has Down syndrome. He knows, like, Chris is like me.
So when I take care of babies in the nursery, parents obviously want to know what's my child's life going to be like. Having been there with Chris and having seen what he did reminds me that when I have those conversations with families with Down syndrome, that I have to remind myself to tell them that you may be surprised at what might be possible.
On March 4th, 1991, I stepped on a landmine in Basra, Iraq. I was airlifted to several different field hospitals where they performed surgeries to save my life. Chris and I are a lot alike in that we both face adversity, physical challenges, limitations, and we just keep putting one foot in front of the other. He has got grit, determination, he is driven. So Chris Nikic, big hero of mine.
Okay, now you got it. Go! Without Chris and following his journey, Rocco would not be on a bike right now. He says, I can do that. Chris has definitely inspired myself, my son Rocco, and I know all the people within the community are inspired by him. Chris is a world changer.
6 years ago, I've got it, buddy. You're coming up. You're gonna say bye me? What, you're gonna keep me under the check? Control me? No comments.
But you don't have comments.
No comments.
Yes, you do.
Okay. So 6 years ago, my wife got sick, so I needed to come home and take care of her and him. And I started to notice some things that I hadn't really noticed because I was too busy in my business to notice. But one of the things I noticed was Chris was towards the end of his high school career, spending a lot of time alone on the couch, playing video games, gaining weight, getting out of shape. And a thought hit me. At the age of 18, I was actually on my way to college, thinking about the beginning of the rest of my life, college, career, family. And then I looked at Chris, and what I realized was that he didn't have any of that. That for him, high school was it. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even tell the story, right? It chokes me up every time I think about it, but there you are, you look at your child and you think, that's it, that's the end. And I thought, this can't be the end. This is not how this story is supposed to end, right? There's gotta be more. And so I had this crazy idea that we were gonna do something together. I said, buddy, let's just go out and start exercising together. Let's just start something. At that time, the Special Olympics Florida started a triathlon program to see if Special Olympics athletes had the ability to do a triathlon, one of these short 15-mile versions. And that's how this whole story started, with this vision that was the end and that wasn't going to happen and we were going to try something new. And then we started on this journey of experimentation to figure out what would happen. And so I'm going to share with you a little bit about the system that I designed for Chris. It's a system that I've been designing for 20 years in the corporate world. I own a sales consulting practice. I help companies design sales systems, processes, and software, and I do training and coaching, and I do this stuff all day long for adults. And I thought, why can't we take something like that, modify it for Chris, and let's see what he can do with a 1% Better system. So I'm going to share a little bit of that with you, a little bit about how I modified it for him, with the idea being that you get to see a vision of something that we all take for granted, that we do every day and we have, as part of our practice, but our kids with special needs and intellectual disabilities don't have this. Yet with simple modification, we were able to take a business concept, apply it to him, and within 3 years, he did something that the entire world thought was impossible. And so I'll share that, and then he'll share his story about how he accomplished it. And hopefully you'll see something here for you, but also those around you. This concept of grit, according to Angela Duckworth, the premier authority on grit, her research says that grit is the single greatest predictor of success in just about every field in life. Grit is that thing that enables you to sustain an effort towards a long-term goal, and you just stick with it until it gets done. It's what successful people have in every field of life. She was asked, well, then how do you teach grit? How do you build it? And she honestly said, we don't really know. We think, though, there's research that's showing that grit comes from something called a growth mindset. Well, it's something we call 1% better. Our whole system is designed to build mental toughness. 1% better is really meant to teach someone grit, mental toughness, sustainability. So you don't quit when things get hard, because that's when you win. You win when everybody else quits. As long as you don't quit, you're always successful. And you just keep moving one foot in front of the other. And that's really this whole journey that Chris is going to share with you and I'm going to share is about building a mental toughness that says you don't quit. It's something that works in every field. Now, how does this all work together? Grit and 1% success habit. So grit is associated with mental toughness, but the barrier to building mental toughness is pain. And the vehicle to building mental toughness is achievement. So it's a combination of pain and achievement. Now, the brain is naturally hardwired to avoid pain. You will avoid pain at all costs. It's why we don't like to go to the dentist. Even though we know it's good for us, that short-term pain that you experience when you go to the dentist is enough to keep making excuses why you can't make an appointment. For most of us, right? I mean, let's be honest. How many of us just don't go every 6 months? Well, we should. Just one of us? The rest of us are just, we like pain? Now, on the other hand, achievement is something that the brain really likes. Whenever you achieve something, the brain releases chemicals, endorphins, that make you feel good. And if you do it consistently enough, it helps you develop habits, and habits develop who we are in terms of whatever we do in life. People always say, if you want to achieve something great, pick the habits that need to be executed on a regular basis that will help you achieve that great goal, whatever that is. And so the idea is to find a way to sustain a level of achievement on a regular basis until whatever it is that you're doing is automatic. It's a habit. And that's all we were trying to do with Chris, is to develop this set of habits. So we developed this system that says the best way to build grit is to build success, and build a success habit gradually, a little bit at a time. Why? Because you're balancing between pain and achievement. It's enough success to stimulate the achievement endorphins, but not so much that you push yourself too hard to trigger the pain receptors that will make you want to quit. So a simple example is, if you've been out of shape for a while and you want to go to the gym, the worst thing you can do is go to the gym and work out more than a couple of minutes. Because if you work out too much, the next day you're going to feel what? Pain. You don't feel it when you do it. You feel it the next day. That pain does what? Keeps you home the next day. And then the second day, what do you feel? Even more pain. Somehow the pain got worse the second day, so you don't go to the gym. You still feel the pain the third day, right? Now, what's the habit now? Was it the 1 day of exercise? Or the 3 days of staying home?
3 days staying home.
And then that becomes permanent. That's the balance that we have to figure out how to play. But the problem with that is we're not patient enough. The whole world is trying to convince us that success is 30 days out. That you're 60 days from a six-pack. It took us 10 years to develop this beautiful body, right? But we're 60 days from a six-pack. It ain't gonna happen. But it's that immediate gratification that actually becomes the problem to sustainable success. But if you build a habit of getting 1% better every day, and you're patient and you allow 6 months to go by of getting better every day, and 12 months, then it becomes a lifestyle, it becomes permanent, it becomes who you are. And that's really what we're gonna share with you, kind of how we built this for Chris. Now, so the best ways to build grit is through this combination, gradually. A little bit of achievement, very little pain. But here's the problem, and here's the warning. If you try to move too fast for whatever you're trying to do, you are going to trigger the pain receptors that are gonna make you quit. Very, very few people have enough tenacity to fight through that. The vast majority of us, once the pain gets a little bit too much, are gonna quit. But you need to make enough progress to feel the achievement in order to build a habit, and that's the balance you have to play. Now, that's what we went through. So with Chris, we said, okay, let's build a success habit. The 1% is something I've been doing, like I said, for 20 years in the business world. When someone hires me, they say, hey, we want to change our culture because blah, 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 right? I said, great. You know it's going to take 6 to 12 months, right? I'm like, oh, crap, we were hoping it would take 30 days. No, it doesn't take 30 days. If you want to build a culture, sustain successful, continuous improvement, it's going to take 6 to 12 months. I'm like, okay. And so we start with some actions. We make them consistent. It becomes a habit. It then becomes who you are. That timeline is 6 to 12 months, at least. It just takes time. And everybody who tells you you're going to change your habits and behaviors and success in 30 days, it's just, we know what that leads to. And so we started with Chris, and I had to change my perspective. Here's the perspective. By the age of 18, we had been convinced by the doctors, the educators, the family, the friends, the community, the Down Syndrome Society, everybody in the world convinced us Chris could not learn or succeed in the traditional, typical environment. That's what we were led to believe. So I asked a different question. Part of being in a consulting business where you solve problems all day long, the first thing you do is you just take the counter approach. You're like, what if everything we're looking at is wrong? What if we look at it from a whole other perspective? So I asked a different question. The question I asked is, what if he could learn and succeed, but the problem is we don't know how to teach him the way he learns and succeeds? What if he's not the problem? What if I'm the problem?
He is a problem. You keep getting for me, ladies. It's a problem. Keep going.
Thanks. All right, so I accepted responsibility that I was the problem. So then I went to solve the problem. See, this whole time I've been trying to solve the problem. He wasn't the problem. So I said, I'm the problem. Now I started working on me. Now this was easy. So I said, okay, I'm the problem. Let's see what kind of solution we come up with if we switch the focus. So then I said, all right, how does he learn? How fast does he learn? What's his superpower? And the answers were really simple. And guess what? So was the darn solution. But it didn't look like what everybody was applying on him for 18 years. It was simple. And as you can see from the result, it worked. But it was different. And nobody was ready for different. And that's the world we kind of came in. And then I said, well, it worked for him, but is it going to work for others like him? So we started working with some other athletes from Special Olympics in the last year. And I started asking the same question. So we started working with athletes with autism, with Down syndrome, with nonverbal, with verbal, with high IQ, low IQ, with medium, right? We started working with all kinds of athletes and said, will this only work for Chris or will it work for others? Do I have to modify the plan for everybody? And then I realized, based on the answers to my questions, that it's going to work for all of them. Because they had some very common characteristics that work for all of them. So I'm going to give you a simple example. If you know people in these two different areas, Down syndrome and autism, those questions we started asking, we started to figure things out and say, well, how do they learn? One's a little slower, one's a little faster. What about their balance? One's a little poor and one's a little better. What about their reaction time? One's a little faster, one's a little bit slower. What about their tolerance for pain? One is really low, one is really high. And this is where the real modification happened. So consider this for a second. You all know how hard it is to do an Ironman, right? How many in this room have done an Ironman? Raise your hand. Raise your hand. Let me see. Raise your hand really high. Let me see. Chris, I don't think anybody else. Ironman in the house. You know why we don't do an Ironman? Because it's hard. It is one of the hardest.
Ladies, can do Ironman.
Stop it with the ladies. Stop flirting. I'm going to tell your girlfriend.
Yeah?
What?
I'm going to handle her.
Okay.
You? She's off limits.
Okay. So, it's really painful doing an Ironman. Now, think of it this way. I came up with this concept called fake pain threshold, which is how much fake pain can you take? That's what gets people to do an Ironman and other really hard things. They have the ability to take high threshold pain. Here's what I mean by fake pain. Real pain is you twist your ankle, right? And it swells up. And how long does that hurt? 2 days, a week? That's real pain because it hurts every day, every time you put some pressure on it. Fake pain is you go out and run 100 yards, you haven't run before, and what happens? Your heart rate spikes, your lungs burn a little bit, your legs burn a little bit, and then all those send signals to the brain that it hurts. That's fake pain. The reason it's fake pain is as soon as you stop, the pain goes away. It's not like the ankle. Ankle's real pain. Your heart rate spiking is fake pain. So I started to realize some things. On the spectrum, let's say 1 to 10, where would you say your pain tolerance is, 1 to 10? 10 is like, you don't give a rip. 0 is you're not going to try anything.
Oh, 9.
You're on a 9. What about you?
A 7.
7. Most people are going to be somewhere between a 3 and a 7, 8, somewhere in that range, right? A small group of people are 8, 9, 10. And they'll do extreme things that most of us will not do. And then there's a small group of people that are below 3 that just don't want to do anything. Do you know where people with Down syndrome are? So you think it's hard for you to do an Ironman? Try doing it when your pain tolerance is 0. Now you understand why he's the only one in the world still. No one's even close. Trying to do something like an Ironman with a pain tolerance of 0 is impossible, or almost impossible. But so what do? That's mental toughness. Remember we talked about grit? I started teaching him how to move his pain tolerance from 0 to 1. 1% of the time. Then from 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, then 3 to 4. Then, do you know where he is around now? He's somewhere around a 4 or 5. Our goal is to move to a 6 and a 7 and an 8. Could you imagine what he's going to be doing when he gets his fake pain tolerance to an 8 or 9? Imagine what he's going to accomplish then. Because he did Ironman on a 2. That's what we're dealing with. That's mental toughness. Now imagine how you are in life when your tolerance for pain is at an 8 or a 9. Imagine all the things you could do. That's what we're talking about. That's what we help them build. Now, where do you think the kids with autism are? 10. Down syndrome 0, autism 10. Plus or minus. So, we're training kids with autism now how to do an Ironman, and we're doing it in less than a year. They're like, just like that, 3 months, 6 months, knock it out. These young men and women have enormous potential. Nobody's giving them the opportunity. They don't realize what they're capable of. Everybody's telling them what they can't do. I got a bunch of kids who came to me, and everybody's been telling them their whole life they can't do it, and 3 to 6 months later, they're doing Ironmans. And they're changing completely. Mental attitude, physical, social, their job skills, their physical, everything's changing. But nobody thought about them that way. They thought a lot of the things that they have are weaknesses. I looked at those things and said, those are strengths. Those are superpowers. If we harness them correctly, we can teach kids to do amazing things. That's the journey we're on, is to figure out how to help our kids with Down syndrome build their tolerance for pain so they can do more, and our kids with autism how to use it to maximize their success, and everybody in between to figure out how to help them all do that. That's really the journey we're on. Hopefully you'll see this and maybe help someone around you do the same thing.
Keep talking like that.
All right, you now can sit down. You like this boring presentation?
Yeah, boy.
Now here's the superpower. They all love repetition. So if you design a program for repetition, they'll kill it. But see, they also make amazing employees in jobs that require repetition. So a lot of what we're doing is helping them develop skills and competencies that can be leading them to full-time employment in the kinds of jobs that we don't like to do, that they'll do happily and gladly and successfully, but we have to prepare them for it, physically, socially, cognitively, right? Communication skills, and those are all the things that we're trying to do with our kids, is help them develop those skills so they can be fully included and fully employed in the community. Now, all we're really doing is building a 1% better habit. What is it? It's a success habit. It means when you achieve something, you're successful. If you achieve and succeed every day, you build a success mindset, and now you can do anything. Now, all these kids like a structured plan, they like routine and repetition, and they love being part of a group, and now they're killing it. And what we're doing, using Ironman as a vehicle, is we're teaching them how to build health and energy, teaching them physical skills, social skills, cognitive memory, decision-making, confidence, all for the purpose of independence, employment, and inclusion. We're just trying to build a system to give our kids with intellectual disabilities the same opportunities we have. And it's working. Slowly, not fast enough. I was telling somebody earlier, one of the things we're going to do next year in Orlando is there's a community being built for 260 homes with people with intellectual disabilities so they can have their own town. And we're going to build an academy right in the middle of it. And we're going to start off with about 100 students from all over the country. And we're going to implement this 1% better system. We're going to teach them how to be fully employed, fully included in the community by designing an academy that is designed to leverage their strengths and their unique abilities. And then we're hoping that we can scale that all over the country and maybe do something like what you guys are doing, 41 locations. I'd love to see 41 academies all over the country. How cool would that be? That's awesome. That would change the world, wouldn't it? Yeah. So how does this work? 3 components. The goal is for all of us, right? Imagine if you built a 1% better habit, meaning every day you woke up, you did something that made you 1% better. That's how you build that habit, by executing. Chris executes. That's Chris's strength in all this, is his ability to execute. And then you need coaching, right? Because people can't do it on their own. And so coaching becomes the vehicle by which we keep people on track. And that's all we did. So in my business model, I took this right out of my business. What we do is we help companies build a habit. It takes According to the College of London, it takes anywhere from 18 to 251 days to build a habit, depending on the complexity. I believe building a mental habit takes closer to a year. So let's say 9 months to a year. And you go through a period of frustration, success, and it becomes a habit. The pattern that works is this simple. You set a long-term goal a year out. You need long-term goals because it takes that long to build a habit. And if you set short-term goals, you might hit the goals, but you never build the real success, which is the habit. We want to build a habit. And then you set metrics. I came up with this concept called leading, leading, and lagging metrics. Everybody talks about leading and lagging metrics. That's not enough to really measure progress on a daily, weekly basis and to see cause and effect. So I came up with this new term called leaning metric, which is the connector between a behavior and a result. So a leading metric is a behavior. I go out for a 5-mile run. A leaning metric is an outcome. How did I do on that 5-mile run compared to the last time I ran 5 miles? It's not enough that I run 5 miles again. If I don't measure some kind of achievement, I haven't made any progress. So either I'm going to run 5.1 miles, which is an achievement, or if I ran last time and my heart rate was 135 or my speed was 8.3 miles per hour, next time I want to be at 8.29. Any achievement is what stimulates endorphins, which creates habits. So the idea is if you're always making progress, that means you're always building the achievement habit. But you have to see it on a scoreboard. And then you have to coach it every week to have that discussion. What you do, what you achieve, what did you learn, what do we do next week? And that's really the pattern we built for Chris. This was the system we followed for him in order to do an Ironman. So in his case, he set the goals to an Ironman. He had this big dream, big goal, and a plan to get better. And then he started with a push-up, sit-up, and a squat. And then he started with a lap in the pool, a 100-yard run, and a little bike ride in the neighborhood. And then he did an Ironman 3 years later. That's how it started. We're in the gym this morning working out, and Chris is up there, and he's on the treadmill. He gets a real nice 6-mile run. And this 5? 5. He was supposed to do 6, and the thing stopped, right?
4. I ran 5, and then a cool down.
And then cool down was the rest of it, right? Yeah. And this other big strapping guy working hard watching Chris like, wow, that's pretty good. And he doesn't say anything, but then Chris goes over and starts doing pull-ups. And he's doing sets of 9. And this guy's watching, I'm like, it's like, I coach Special Olympics. This is not resonating. This kid's running 5 miles at this incredible speed, and then he's doing pull-ups, and then crunches, and is like, who are you? And the other guy says, and he says, are you him? Like, him who? It's like the guy who did the Ironman. He says, yeah. And he says, he did an Ironman. Like, now they're all talking, right? Their eyes and what they see is not relating to what they understand. That's why people still don't believe it. Because it's all inside. It's internal. It's this mindset that helped them do that. But this is how it's done, one at a time. Chris started with 1 push-up. He got to a max of 430. And we had to pull him back because he was just getting too bulky and he couldn't run and whatever. Yeah. He was doing 120 pull-ups, right? He's running 26 miles. And it's like, but once you're mentally tough like that, it's amazing what the body will do. And so that's what we decided to do with Chris, take a year to do that. This is an example of what his plan looks like. He writes it on his board in his room, but I keep it on a spreadsheet, and then we show that we literally track on a daily basis, and you can see exactly what progress he's making. That sound familiar? When you have metrics that you can look at on a daily, weekly basis, and you can see progress, it encourages you. When you don't see progress, you have a way to adjust and make the proper changes. So this is the journey Chris has been on. He's going to tell you a little bit about his story and about how he did it, but this is how simple the system is. You set up something really simple. You start by doing one thing of something. You measure it, and then you just do one more. And then just one more. And just one more. And you stick with it for how long? To build a habit? About a year. Just a year. You stick with it for a year, now it becomes who you are for the rest of your life. And so we're going to let you, Chris, share his story about, kind of how this works. But it started out with something really simple. A dream, because without a dream, we don't have anything to work for. A goal. Chris has one goal every year. Not 2 or 3 or 4, just one every year. 2 or 3 or 4 goals distract you. One goal keeps you laser focused. And then a plan. Every day, Chris knows what he's going to do. He writes his own training plans now. Every day, he just gets 1% better. It's that simple. We also built some rules. Make it fun. We know it has to be fun. And Chris and I are always negotiating. Right? He always wants something for something. He knows. He's learned the system. I do this, I get that. And he gets it because he earns it. No real pain. We are very careful to make sure that Chris never has any residual pain, because we know it's the very thing that will derail him from continuing on. So if we have to choose between not doing something and doing something that has a risk of pain, we don't do it. We're patient. We let the progress come slowly. We're not in it for results. We're in it for lifestyle. We're in it for the long term. We're in it for him enjoying the rest of his life by doing this. And then this concept of just one more. Whatever we do, we set a goal to do one more. Why? Because you can't hurt yourself if you just do one more than you did last time. But you need to do one more in order to release the endorphins that create the habits. And so it's a balance. And so we always find a way to do one more. Whether, like right now, we're working on his fake pain threshold. We want to keep increasing it. And we're working on ways of doing it. So instead of running 10 or 12 miles, we're only going to run 6 miles, but every time he runs, he's going to push himself a little bit harder. And so it's his choice. Before each workout, I said, buddy, do you want to run 7 miles at this speed or 6 miles at this speed? This speed's going to hurt a little bit more, but your threshold is going to increase. He said, I'll take the 6 miles at this speed. And it's a way to keep improving that. Now, here's some interesting things that happen along the way. We learned some unexpected benefits came out of this thing. So I started reading books like Spark that talk about the science of exercise and the brain. And what we noticed was Chris was learning more rapidly, remembering better. His entire being was changing. His cognitive ability, his memory, his decision-making, his interactions, his social, everything was changing. Chris is not the same person he was 6 years ago. Each year he changes, and people look at him, people who knew him, like, I can't believe that's the same person. The problem when you meet him is you're not seeing who he was 6 years ago. You're seeing someone who's moved quite a bit along, and so you might have a perception. But this is not 6 years ago. He was average amongst kids with Down syndrome, period. And you know what that means. But when after this started happening, he was accelerating every day towards his potential. What we realized was exercise is like a miracle grow for the brain. You're not born with X cells and that's it. You can actually grow cells. Every time you exercise, you develop hundreds of thousands of new brain cells. And if you learn something immediately after you exercise, you keep them and you can grow your brain potential. Once I realized that, I thought, we're on a different journey now. Exercise is just a vehicle to build his brain. We're on this journey to teach him how to become self-sufficient, how to build that brain power so he can do the kinds of things that make him self-sufficient in life. Now, by the way, this works for all of us. Whenever you have something hard you want to do, go exercise for 30 minutes and your brain will be 30% more productive after that. And when we realized we could grow his brain cells and we could grow his potential, then we really got on this journey and we started getting excited by this thing. So, let me introduce you our amazing young man. You don't want me to say anything?
No.
All right. Have fun. Get out of here.
Yeah. So, first thing about what my dad said, this piece is boring. He's serious. My story is way more than that. It's funny, cute, and adorable. So talking about background. Hi, I'm Chris Nikic, and my topic is represent better the road to your full potential. Thank you for giving me this opportunity. I was an average kid that had syndrome with many obstacles. I changed my life by overcoming my obstacles to get represented better every day. I hope my story will inspire you to overcome the obstacles, achieve your full potential, and promote inclusion for everyone. About me, I'm a Down syndrome accent, and I speak like I have a deep self. I'm an Ironman, a swimmer, host speaker, author, and dish actor. I ran at Boston, New York City, Tokyo, London, Berlin, and Chicago Marathon. I'm a Special Olympics ambassador, and as you can see, ladies. I am adorable, single, and available.
Sound like my girlfriend.
Love to be after. I'm free all day. But success is built on habit. I get 1% better every day. This is a success habit. The kind that makes you smarter, faster, and better every day. My story is how training for Ironman is helping me achieve my full potential of being the best I can be. Again, 1% better each day. I have a 2-step plan to achieve my goals. Get 1% better, work hard. The problem is, I know food, your day, in my house, in my car dealership, in Kevin's you. Everything is harder for me. It took me 6 months to learn to ride. I had many obstacles. At 5 months, I had open heart surgery. At 3 years, I needed a walker to walk. At 12, my neck was too weak for dizzy rides and obstacles. At 17, I had 4 major ear surgeries. My hardest obstacles were low expectations and being critical applicant. And if you want to give me your PD, please do that. For reasons, everything is harder for me. Number 1, no tone. Means my muscles are weaker, so muscles are harder. Number 2, poor balance. Makes it hard to abide. Takes me longer to learn. And this one is so freaking funny. Snow reaction means I can't ride or bike fast. I crash, rehearse a lot. And you know what? I got distracted. I was smoking hot walk. And here's number 4. Start learning means it's hard for me to learn what I understand. The point is, it's not that I cannot succeed. It's that I learn different and slower. We have no tolerance of no excuses. I could use my obstacle as an excuse. I don't use excuses. My coaches will take them. Instead, I work hard to get 1% better each day. My choices, success or excuses, I choose success. My decision after for the surgeries, I gained 40 pounds, and I was in bad shape. I set a goal to be an Ironman. The problem was, I got covered jokes for all of you. The first one is, I love golf and basketball. And the second joke is, but that swimming, biking, or running. My greatest 2 jokes ever. The first one is, I live in bed, I was going for a freaking Ironman. And 2, am I funny? Yeah, I'm funny. It's cute. It's so darn cute. I want to share that story. My old man. It means you're making everything fun, easy. The game does not give no pain. The 1% better habit helps me do all that. in March of 2019, I did a 14-mile triathlon in 148 minutes. By August, I finished in 100 minutes. I got my percent belt each day. Example, how I build my percent belt habit. I need strong core. So on day one, I did one push-up, sit, and squat. I added one every 2 days. But I ran for I did 200. I got up to 430, and that's that. I'm bad simple on day one, but possible the 1% that I have it. The goal of 1% that is to be successful. We are here to be successful at 1. Success is being the best you can be. The average person is not potential, but uses a small amount. Our next potential, but reaching more of it, I can't be successful. I mean, we all can be successful at what? In Chipotle, or rice, and work hard. We also learn that we are our potential growth. Imagine what you can achieve if you get 1% better each day, it is more of your potential. August 2019 state championship. Let me tell you something, all of you. I hate to lose. Imagine, I hate to lose, right? I really want to win. But the problem was my competition. And I'm like, are you kidding me? They were older, faster, and not that syndrome. And I'm like, I don't care. We all don't care. In March, the gap between me and number 1 was 5 minutes. But the week good news, but August is only 25 minutes. The day almost changed. Luckily, it's 1,000 meter over long swim. So everyone went home with excuses to God knows what. Well, on the swim break, I continued to represent better. On 9/11, my first swim across Lucky Lake, I saw the wall. I did not put Chris Nikic. I was one freaking champ. And my dad said, why not do something extraordinary? You could be the first person to have syndrome in the world to do an Ironman. So I'm like, oh yeah. So I said we're going Ironman, event 2020. My Ironman commitment. I asked my dad, what do I need to do? He said 3 things. 3 things, y'all. Come up with something out each day. Work hard. And you better eat more rice. More rice. From Chipotle. It's true. Yeah. Yes, I knew I could do it. Then I asked, what should I do? He said, you run your dreams, baby. So I'm his baby. Until he retires, I'm going to take over Solar Company. And take other name. So I went down my dream, basically, 5 out of 6. I want to make my own money so I could buy my own house, buy my own car. And you think I'm sweet, loving, and caring person? That's right here. Maybe smoking hot blonde. Something soda like my mom. Or maybe smoking hot blonde mom covers you. You know what I'm talking answer me? You can. My dad said, if I sit on the couch playing the video game, I never give my dream. I'm like, hell no. But if I did Ironman, become a successful college speaker, I have a chance to get my dream, and I'm like, hell yeah. So 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with Down syndrome. I finished that last, in a 14-month triathlon. And then to my dad, I want to be a 150 champ. He said, hell yeah. That's my plan. So I wrote my dream, my goal, and my plan to get 1% better every day. So I went to work to hit my goal, to my dream. And as Mike Tyson said, I might have a plan until y'all get positive face. But if there's a problem with other ladies, you come to me. And I hate to hear myself. That comes with you first, all of you. Everything was on track until March. Let's talk about COVID. COVID's ridiculous, right? It's so ridiculous. There's no way. Like, it came with everything. The gym training, I'm like, no. The next instrument, no. The back twist right, no. I said, you wait. And they said, hell no. Yeah, I said, hell no. My dream was bigger than the obstacle. I found a way to train your home and neighborhood. Even a bike class did not stop me. And still, I ended up in a freaking ER with freaking stitches. People ask, why don't you quit? Because my dream is bigger than my pain. May 9, was a big test of Ironman 3.3 miles. The problem was, it's canceled. I crashed my bike and couldn't train for 2 weeks. 2 weeks! They said that's ready to do the better. So what did we do? That's freaking right. There's no we, there's no W-E. There's me. As Dad's on my own on the same day, May 9. Why? Because that's a common calendar. I've missed it in 8 hours and 25 minutes. Now, we had 6 months to train for the Ironman. People said, I should wait, because every Ironman around the world has been canceled, and my dad said no. So he said no, and said, hell no. It is 5 to 10 times harder, and I think my time to train, and I'm like, no, I don't need to train no more. I don't need no warm up. Come on, stop, we're going. What did we say? Hell no. The vacation, we do our art again. And Friday, before and after November 7th, every Ironman in the world was canceled. And I'm like, nope. But on November 7th, Ironman floors on. And guess what happened? 3, 2, 1. That's freaking right. This is me 3 years ago. The first person Down syndrome to the Ironman and set new world record. He's my old man over there. This is me too. The first person Down syndrome to complete Ironman World Championship in Hawaii. What? I can't stay ovation. And Sunday, I am the first with Down syndrome to run a 6-meter marathon. I want this room now. Now. Do you think he's worth it?
Yeah.
Louder.
Yeah.
Louder.
Yeah.
Louder. Sports are straight is prisoners of the year.
Oh, awesome.
Guinness World Record. A dish athlete in my own shoe. And you know, that's my dad in a picture. But you know what? He's boring. And me, I'm so dark cute, pretty, and handsome, and a lovable person. And I got you, ladies, to represent our work. Sorry, guys. Then I'm going to say it again. Do you think it's worth it?
Yes.
Do you think it's worth it?
Yes.
Do you think it's worth it?
Yes.
Well, okay then. Louise, Global Sports of the Year, 2 hours speech. I just got my own home.
Wow.
Get in here. You get out of here. Somebody get out of here. Come get out of here. Get out of here. Oh man. And best of all, I'm healthy, happy, and making my own money so I can get my dream. The 1% that I have it, my success is based on habit. I get 1% better every day. In case you think I'm done.
Nope.
No. That's right. I just get started. Let me tell you something all of you. Ironman just announced a new ID category for athletes like me. Our major marathons are creating a new runner 3-2-1 ID category for native athletes.
All right.
If you want to guide me, you can. If you want to guide me, you can. So welcome aboard, ladies.
You want one of them to guide you for Ironman?
Yeah.
Guide you.
You got any volunteers?
What's your name? What's your name? Ladies. Wait, just what's your name? Well, okay then. That's one. That's two. That's three. That's four.
You might be guiding
That's
us.
five. That's six. That's it. That's six. My goal is to be inclusive by creating a runner to join ID category in all running days in the world. And I need all of you to join in my fight for inclusion. Raise your hand. Okay. Christian Bob, ladies. So I present that science and have someone like me. Or sponsor an athlete and I will present that foundation. And this is my website. You can go on. Follow me on IG. Thanks.
All right.
And don't forget,
It's 3:01. You're done.
Wait a minute, Tom. Don't give me 1 minute.
You're done.
And don't forget, the reason why I came to the condition is because someone put me on the wall and here too. So I just want to say, if you want me to be part of your team for the condition, please.
You want to sell cards then?
Yeah, please catch your phone.
You think you can sell a card?
And I'll be honored to be part of the team.
You're part of Team Zeigler.
If you're one lady in your heart.
So that was absolutely incredible. Let's take about 5 minutes and we'll open it up to a few questions for Nick, for Chris today. Who has the first question out of KZoo?
What's your golf handicap?
KZoo.
What's your golf handicap?
Alan.
Yeah.
He wants to know your golf handicap.
Oh, 95.
95?
95? That's pretty darn good. That's awesome.
He's just getting started. So that's actually one of those areas where we're curious to see if we apply his routine and repetition, same way we did for Ironman. We'd be curious to see what he could do.
That's really cool.
Very interesting.
Good question, Alan. And yes, Sam, you got a question.
You've talked about the difference between real and pretend pain and how you're careful never to create the real pain. That's a pretty thin line, isn't it? Like, how do you differentiate between that?
I think keep going.
If it goes away immediately after you do something, it's fake.
Yeah.
If it's sustainable, like a day later, 2 days later, that's real pain, right? Anything like an injury is real pain.
Yeah.
Effort is not. Effort is, your body sends signals to the brain to get you to stop because it thinks it's dangerous when it really isn't. And so we teach him to do that seconds at a time. So if he can, for instance, run at 150 beats per minute, and we watch it, look at his watch, and we see where he's at, and then he starts to want to quit, and we say, okay, buddy, 10 seconds. And we get him to run for 10 seconds at that rate, and then takes a break, and what happens is that starts to build over time, where he can then do 12 seconds, then 15. Again, everything goes back to the patience, to be willing to make slow progress, because any progress is good progress.
Absolutely. Great question. Thanks, Sam. Another one from Kalamazoo. All right.
I think we answered them all.
I think we did. Well, that was absolutely incredible. Chris, you're an inspiration for all of us. We've had a ton of guest speakers at Team Zeigler, but I don't know if we've ever had one that got a full standing ovation. So let's give them another round of applause.
Thanks to Chris and his dad, Nick Nikic, for sharing their incredible story. Until next week, how are you driving vision today?